Work it out in words. Now, for people who only believe in dynamic inspiration, they say 3% doesn't matter, right? But we are worried about every word, aren't we? We believe in verbal, plenary inspiration. So every word throughout the whole Bible, we want to be exactly the word that God gives us. To get 3 wrong in every 100 means on every page of the Bible where they are happy to have something that's not right. Are we happy with that? No, we're not. And often it's much, much more than that as well. However, in this matter of verbal inspiration, inerrancy and infallibility, it's the differences that matter. Now that's what matters to us. The agreement is what matters to them. People who just believe in dynamic inspiration say, yes, look, we've got 97% agreement. Why are you arguing over this little bit that we don't agree on? Right. It must also be noted that the differences cannot be used to justify any particular text. Now, many times people have said to me, you shouldn't use the King James, it's wrong. And I say, well, why is it wrong? And they say, well, because it's different to what we use, so yours is wrong. It's wrong because it's different. Now, the differences don't decide what's right or wrong, do they? Understand when people say this to you that that's an invalid argument. The differences don't prove which one's right. They just prove that the texts are different, right? And the texts are different, and we'll see how different as we go on. Right, they don't prove any particular text to be right. The differences are known as variant readings, and remember I said a variant is anything that varies from the received text, the TR. It's been rightly stated that no major doctrine rests entirely on a variant. Now, that's true, but that is also one of the most deceptive statements that we ever hear. And people will say this to you constantly. When somebody says this to you, understand that they are conning you. They are deliberately, they know what they're doing, they are dishonest. Because it's clear that a combination of the variants is an entirely different matter. Now, they say it's been rightly stated that no major doctrine rests entirely on a variant, right? So they're saying it doesn't, no major doctrine rests entirely on one word. And they're right, we agree with them. No doctrine does. Doesn't have to be a major doctrine. No doctrine rests on one word, and we need to understand that. But they're not telling you that if you put a combination of the variants together, then major doctrines do rest on it. The doctrine of the blood of Christ, we can see where it's attacked. The doctrine of the deity of Christ, we can see where it's attacked. The doctrine of the miracles of Christ are attacked, and all using variants. And so we need to be very careful that we understand what people are saying, because they are deliberately not really telling the whole truth, right? They are, what they say is true, and so they say, there, see, I haven't departed from the truth. But in actual fact, they are deliberately trying to deceive the naive Christians, and they succeed every time. And we need to be a lot smarter than that. All right, we'll just start on lesson 5 and just set the background for it. Before applying our methods of determining the correct or authoritative New Testament text, let us examine what's available for us to work with. Like, let's look at the texts that are available. Now, there are over 5,300 manuscripts available. Now, that's incredible, isn't it? This, too, was in 1995, 20 years ago. there's a lot more available information now than there was then, though no, how do I put it, no huge things being found to include in it, but they're always adding in things that they find, bits of papyri, bits of copies of lectionaries and all sorts of different things. Now, we've just got to get a bit of an idea on what it is that is available in the way of manuscript evidence, right? Now, there is over 5,300 manuscripts available. And you say, oh, 5,300 New Testaments. Well, no. Of course, these are not complete New Testaments in a single volume. They are very, very rare indeed, right? What we've got, the manuscripts we've got, they are very, very varied, ranging from codices, now that's books, that are quite comprehensive, to single verses or less. Now, everything that is available is called a manuscript of some sort. We have papyrus documents that are very old. Many are just small scraps of original documents. Now, papyrus was the paper they used in Egypt, and it was used fairly much worldwide back in the early church times. And so there are bits of it. A lot of them are just scraps. Some of them are quite comprehensive. We have some manuscripts written on animal skins of various types, and that was quite common back then. We have manuscripts written on different types of ancient paper, quite different to modern paper, and some are even written on metals such as copper or carved in stone. And so there's a wide range of manuscript evidence that we have, a wide range. And we can look at it all. Evidence from the evidence for the New Testament. This is a summary of it. Evidence for the New Testament is composed of papyrus fragments and manuscripts. Unical, that means uppercase. You know what I'm talking about there. And minuscule is called lowercase, or that's what lowercase is called, manuscripts. So we've got unical manuscripts and we've got minuscule manuscripts, and we call these modified capitals and cursives. Now you're going to have to get these things in your mind. This is how the manuscripts are looked at and named, and it's important that you understand what, say, a modified capital is when we come to it, or a modified cursive, and understand that what they are. They're uppercase and lowercase manuscripts, written in uppercase and written in lowercase. And then we've got lectionaries. Now, they're very important. Books, they were books used in early church history, and they were very common in the early church. They were used by the lay people, used as a part of regular worship, and they can be compared to modern prayer books, used regularly for Sunday morning worship. Now, you wouldn't know what a prayer book is, but when I was growing up, prayer books still existed. They used them in the Church of England and in some other churches too, and they were very common, and they had scripture quotes in them. And so lectionaries were quotes of the scriptures that were used in churches, that the minister would read some and then the people would read some. And a lot of it was just straight quotes of scripture. And I think we'll have to leave that there and just say